Ciao ragazzi, my name is Anthony. Welcome back to Inter Worldwide. Man, good luck wiping the smile off this face tonight because it's basically Serie A Roundtable version 2.0. And yeah, we'll just get Admo adjusted. Look how beautiful he is. Look at that hair. Unbelievable. Sits perfectly symmetrically on both shoulders, brother. Not even just one. But we're back.
It took me lots of meals to teach you.
It's Serie A Roundtable 2.0 for anybody that tuned in a few years back on Football Worldwide. And for anybody watching who thought that this was just going to be another rendition of the past two seasons of Serie A Matchday reviews, where I just basically go through the games and sit on here and have a look at a slideshow, well, you're in for a surprise because nothing is making me more happy than adding another segment to this channel, another segment to the growing channel. Thank you to all the new subscribers. We are up 101 new subscribers in the last week and a half, which is awesome. So I present to you Zona Calcio, and there's no one I'd rather be doing it with than four blokes down under here in Australia that outside of their family life, outside of their personal life, would pretty much rather not be doing anything else than sitting around with each other, talking about what we love more than anything else. So introducing everybody in no particular order. From Melbourne, it's Anth representing. It's good to be back, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, been a while. Good to see you, boys.
Armando, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, bro.
Oh, what's going on?
We're live.
We love you started.
I love this, bro. That's awesome.
You like Roma
everybody's favorite. It's Melbourne's favorite Roma fan, and the guy responsible for getting anybody that mattered in Italian football down to do a very exclusive interview. It's good to see you, Adam. You're here with us, bro. Mentally, are the lights on? I think you can't hear us, man. I think he's flopped out already.
I think it's like the Roma Mercato delay.
Yes,
delay.
Man.
Last minute.
Delay,
Hey,
last
I
minute.
will tell him that's speaking to him. I don't think he can hear.
Yeah. Armand, I'm going to give you your grace and your flowers straight away before anything. Congratulations. You ended the season on
Thank
top.
you.
Come into the season on
Thank
top.
you.
Things are looking well structured for you. But more importantly, it's just good to be back with you live, man, because we can shoot the shit very well. It's so good to see you, Bello. How are you?
Nice to be back on the channel. You know, I love to be here. I love when people comment live, and it's nice to see the boys. We talk a lot behind the scene, but it's good to be back on the round table again. And I take the compliment. I didn't do anything. The content, the boys did everything, but I'm happy to get all the credit.
Of course, of course. Before we move into today's topics, and we're going to shoot it in straight away every week, move into a more topic-orientated show rather than just focus on fixtures week in and week out.
What's going on?
This guy, bro. Can you hear me properly?
What a start!
Can you hear me properly or not?
Can you hear us now?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll start talking, mate. We've been live for 4 minutes, and every time we cut to you look like a deer in the headlights.
Start, man.
Huh?
I want to be part of that Into fucking podcast.
Well, I gave you a full intro, so you can introduce yourself now because I don't introduce people twice.
Oh, kick him out.
The
Anth.
lights are on, but
Kick him
nobody's
out.
home, bro. Message him, Chala. Tell him to sort it out. Tell him to sort it out, and he can come back when he sorts it out. Apart from last season, we go into this campaign basically very similar to last season. I was saying to my friend at the start of the match day, everyone tried to shift as little as possible while trying to convince everybody that they were shifting mountains to move to the next step. And I think that our clubs have a very, very good rendition to say for that. I'm going to start with Amo because what an end to last season, bro. From Conte not being able to look, what's his name, De Laurentiis in the eyes when they're lifting the Scudetto, to not even 48. I'm going to say 36 hours later, a complete flip in all media headlines, all news, everything. Antonio Conte has been given the keys to the city, the keys to the new training ground, which you told me about 5 months prior was exactly what was going to happen. Oriali is there for at least another couple of years, and the project will continue at its highest form. You must be feeling pretty damn good about yourself and the club.
If you remember, when we won the first title with Spalletti, I said that the power of football in Italy was changing. People laughed at me, and then we had a bad season when Spalletti left and Giuntoli left. And even then, remember, I used to say, well, Giuntoli is no one. Giuntoli is the contract guy for Napoli. People still laughed at me. There was a bad season. Napoli learned that here how to handle the pressure of victory. I think there was a very good season. Now, when Conte arrived, me and you spoke about behind the scene a lot. And even when they start talking about Conte's leaving, I always been very, very confident they was not to leave. I always knew that him and De Laurentiis were talking about the training camp, the campaign, the market, and everything. So I was not for once doubting that Conte was going to stay. I never follow up the media rumors. I think there was more Conte playing the media to make sure that De Laurentiis is going to put some money into the mercato. But I don't think he ever have a talk about, because right now, honestly, and I don't want to sound like a arrogant prick, but honestly, in Serie A, there is only one team that can put money on the table and go pay players, and that's Napoli. Conte knew it. Where are you supposed to go? To AC Milan with the American owner that are selling for 230 million. They're all investing 1/3 of it. You cannot go back to Inter, and therefore will never go back to Juventus in the financial situation Juventus is now. So realistic for Conte, there was only one place in Serie A to stay, it was Napoli. We're the only team that can put cash on table right now. And we've been proving, we went to buy players for whatever we want.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll just test this out. Tunna, all good?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Beautiful. Can hear you perfect. You all good? You're not delayed? You can hear me? Go.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
Perfect.
Welcome,
how you been, man? Melbourne's favourite Roma fan.
I've been well. Great to see you guys on the small screen again after a while in the wilderness. Good to see these podcasts and Serie A discussion back.
Beautiful. Anth, I'm going to go to you next, man. Before we actually move into results and anything that I want to speak about, your overall thoughts on the way that you guys ended last season and the overall way that you've approached this season. A couple of good moves in the market, but overall more just a melting pot of a bit of a mess, hoping that something works out, right?
That's how it feels, Anth. Same as the last year, it was a mess. And it feels like we've started in the same fashion this year. I mean, a few good signings, but overall, some of these names that we're pulling in, who are they? I just feel like it goes back to, the years when we signed all those signings, but there was no structure. What's that?
No, that's my mate Christian. Very, very observational dude.
Yeah, I don't know. There's all this hype around Milan from some of our supporters before the season started. I don't get it, to be honest. I'm not sure why. I think it's disjointed. The transfer market has been all over the joint. I mean, we're talking about signing Nkunku now in the final days of the transfer market because this Harder guy doesn't want to cut, or, Sporting's delaying on Harder, who's a benchy at Sporting, and we're desperate to sign him. We couldn't get Højlund from Man United. Napoli's sewn that up. It just feels like a bit of a mess. I don't even know who's running the joint there anymore. Who is it? Ibra, Tade, Fulani, what's Scaroni doing? It just feels like from the top down, it's a bit of a mess, to be honest.
Yeah. We'll come back to that soon. We'll move straight ahead to a couple of topics so that we don't stick around here forever, because we will if we don't. Otherwise, there's 14 people right now on Inter Worldwide. Like the video, subscribe if you're new. And yes, Mr. Flow, the content will keep coming in all diverse forms this season. There's a lot of hype around this kid. There's a lot of hype around this club. There's a lot of hype around this project in general. Like, let's face it, there's more hype around this project than there's been around Napoli winning the Scudetto last year over anything. This is the main topic of news coming out of Serie A. I have a feeling that, maybe one or two of us will think there is a little bit too much hype around it. Maybe it will sort of die in the ass at some point. But in terms of its financial backing, it's the first of its kind in Serie A in a long time. It looks like there's some pretty important people behind the investment side of things. And I dare say, I wanted to say last season that this guy was a one-season wonder, but he's pretty damn good, even if Adam doesn't like the way people cover their face when they celebrate goals. But I'm sure you don't mind when Dybala does this, right? Yeah,
Correct. Yeah,
exactly right. So yeah, we've all got. Paz is good, but is he that good? Let's start with the guy who's not going to say he's that good, Armando.
No, actually, I like him. I think he's very good. I think it's a very smart move. I think Como will replace Atalanta in the long run, in the medium short run, actually, not even long run. I think Como is a project that started 3 years ago with the appointment of the coach. They also, make the coach part owner of the business, give them some share of Como, and that's one of the reasons why he never left Como, didn't go to Inter this summer. And the way they're structuring the mercato is quite smart. They're doing some very good sign, and I won't be surprised if Como qualify for Europa comps next year at the end of the season, and they can push to replace Atalanta eventually.
The squad's young, it's energetic. Sergio Roberto's there, Alvaro Morata's there for a little bit of experience to balance it out now. I think that they can definitely maybe give a shout for a Europa League spot. I do think that they do maybe fall a little bit lower, but we're obviously not talking about placings at this point of the season. I just think that they're happy to enjoy the ride at this point while the pressure is still off. I think pressure changes everything. Adam, your thoughts on the biggest project coming out of Italy at the moment?
Yeah, interesting, and it's really when you sort of dig a little bit further and read a little bit more about what they're doing at Como. I think Fabregas is, I think, one of the up-and-coming managers in world football. When you look at managers, I think what you look at is, can you see a distinct style in what they're trying to achieve on the field, and with Fabregas, that's certainly the case. Who wouldn't want to live on the banks of Lake Como? Any of these youngsters coming through. And Fabregas made a good point last night. I watched a clip last night where he was comparing young talent coming through Spain compared to that of Italy. And because he was asked the question, why are you signing so many foreign youngsters? And the response was, the priority for the club is to try and find young Italian talent, but they haven't been able to. And that's why they've looked offshore and mainly to Spain. Obviously, because he's got that direct link to that country. So it's probably a broader discussion around young Italian talent coming through. But what Fabregas does differently to a lot of other Italian managers, maybe because he doesn't have the pressure that some of the top managers at the top clubs have, and that is giving these youngsters an opportunity. So again, another broader discussion. But Nico Paz, obviously saw him last season, and he continues to develop. Another interesting point is, the buyback that Real Madrid have on him until I think it's 2028. I might be mistaken, but I think it is 2028. They've got that buyback.
Every year increased by some $1 million. So they have every summer they have a buyback with increase of the value.
Yeah. So you anticipate that at some stage he might end up back there if he keeps on this trajectory, which is I watched that game on the weekend, and he was very, very good. So what it is though? It's great for the league. Like, when was the last time that we saw a team like Como come up from Serie B and being the talking point of the league? Maybe when Parma first came up. That was, we're talking about 20 years ago, 20, 30 years ago. So. Yeah, it is really interesting to see how they progress this season, but I can't speak highly enough of Fabregas and the way he sets his team up.
Definitely. It's hard to compare what happened to Parma back in the day to, these owners, what are they called? The Hartono brothers, I think they're called. I don't even know, or the Jaram group, something like that. they've invested a lot in the project, in the infrastructure, the 100 million plus in transfers as well. There's a very, very serious project coming there. And they knew that you can't really be the face of a project just by throwing money behind it. You need an attractive face, a sexy face, a familiar face. And Thierry Henry and Cesc Fabregas are two very attractive faces for the project. Anth, any comments on the Cornwall project and situation before we move on?
Not a lot. I love Nico Paz. I think he's a great player. I watched him a lot last year. I saw the highlights of the game. Looked like they were pretty comfortable against Lazio too. And it's not easy opening round to win 2-0 against Lazio. So credit to them. I thought Inter were making a play for him, Anth. Was there nothing in that?
Inter were only making a play for him because he's from Argentina, and we have Javier Zanetti who likes to go to a restaurant here and there that knows someone who knows Nico Paz. So that was just another media headline. If you know Inter's financial situation and the Nico Paz situation, you'll know that it started out as a $50 million player. He was 60 million euros by the end of last season, and now they've knocked back a $65 million package from Tottenham. Inter can't afford a 65 million euro package. So unless you really live in the clouds, you live your head in the clouds, I never thought he was coming, but that's just me personally. Armand.
And Real Madrid will never let him go. No, they find the perfect package. They put in Como. Como is nursing him. He's growing for the Real Madrid. Not gonna. They don't need the 50 or 60 million dollars. They need to create the next superstar. That's their investment. That's their project. There is no way he will go to any team. He will stay in Como.
Yep. I'm going to start with you, Anth, on the next topic, but I'm not too sure how much you've paid attention to Fiorentina in the off season or just the squad that they're building. But to my surprise, I actually thought they'd give Pioli a little bit more. This looks like shit. This is a bad squad, in my opinion. It's probably the worst Fiorentina squad I've seen in a few years. To be honest, their attack's actually not too bad. It's unnecessarily deep with some of those names, to be honest. You need to be making some space there to fill it into other spots. But long story short, Fiorentina didn't have a great match day one at all, did they? They drew 1-1 to Cagliari, and very early days, but I don't think an experienced Robin Gosens was ever going to provide too much help, nor would Edin Dzeko. And I'm one of Dzeko's biggest fans, a timeless player. Inter would have another Scudetto to their name if Edin Dzeko stuck around as a backup striker instead of a couple of other bums that we've had. Your thoughts on Laviola this season under Pioli?
It's an interesting one, and it goes back to what Tunna says. If you look at this squad, I think it's interesting they've got a fair few Italians in there. So I'd be interested to see how these Italians go. You know, the comment about Fabregas looking for Italian plays and not being able to find them. But if you look at Fiorentina, they got, a good bunch and a good core of Italian plays. So I think Pioli is good at bringing a squad together. He got a lot of criticism at Milan, early, probably later on. But he has got the ability to bring a squad together and get results. So I'm a bit more optimistic on this team than you are, Anth. I think they might still be in a chance to qualify for Europe. They've signed Fazzini from Empoli. He was from Empoli, wasn't he? Yeah. He's got some talent. They've got Fagioli in there. They've got a few good Italians in there. So I'm a bit more optimistic. I think with Pioli, bringing them together like he did at Milan, won a title at Milan. He's got, not that they're going to win the title, but he will have the ability to bring them together. So I still think they'll finish top half.
Possibly top half. I just don't think that they're going to make a run at Europe, or at least flirt with it this season. I just think they're going to be 1 or 2 gears behind. But as always, happy to be wrong. Any comments from the other gentlemen? I'll go to you, Ads, next. Adam, any comments on Fiorentina?
I just think that they're missing that link between. I think they got Gudmundsson, but they're missing that link between midfield and attack. I mean, they've got Moise Kean leading that line, but I just feel like there's something missing there. Like they had Zaniolo sort of playing that role last season in the back half. He's now gone, obviously, and I don't think they've actually replaced him or someone of that caliber. So I don't know how long it's going to take for where Dzeko's out in terms of. I know he was on the bench on the weekend, but he didn't come on. But they've got some experience too. Like you got look at Agnelli coming through. You got Gossens there. You got Fagioli, Moise Kean up top.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I do think that they stand to coop a bit of money back because Juventus need to foot the rest of the bill for Nico Gonzalez. So I'm not too sure if they're even done in the market yet.
They're going to get it. They better hurry up and spend it because the market's coming to a close, as we know. So I don't know if they've got the money. I don't know what they're sitting on, but Yeah, I don't see them moving any higher than they finished last season. If anything, they might regress a little bit based on what you said earlier, Anth. So obviously the De Gea in goals, which is he was a saving grace from a lot of games last season, as we remember. So keep up that form, and he might save him a few times. But I see him finishing outside of the European places definitely.
That's what he does, David De Gea. He's a world-class shot stopper. He saves teams from being embarrassed, and he collects some scrappy points along the way. Any comments on Fiorentina before we move on?
Oh, look, they're about to sell Komotsu as well, so they're even going to be even more weaker. So I don't see as a green as you guys mentioned. I think they're going to drop on the other half of the league. I don't see them be a threat to anybody at this stage. Having said so, the first game of the season, they consider a goal on 94 minutes. The other ways we're talking about a victory. So it's always also depends. It's very hard to judge because it depends what kind of pre-season they did. Because we done a lot of pre-season to start and last longer, and then you might look heavy, slow. You might look like struggling, but then 6, 7, 8 games into the leagues, you the one running. While maybe Cagliari did a very light pre-season, try to get as many points as possible. Like Como, Como might have been done a pre-season to start and try to accumulate as many points as possible to create the momentum. And then in 6, 7 games, they're going to start tying the debts, So very hard to say. But on the paper, the squad doesn't tell me nothing. It looks weaker than the one they had last year.
Yeah, fair enough. Something that definitely should suffer and definitely be weaker. I don't know why they appointed this guy. I mean, it's like fucking hell, man. Like how I don't think he's an awful manager. Yeah, sorry, Adam. I don't think he's an awful manager. But you can't go from Gus Perini to this. You can't go from this stylistic way of playing to this. It would completely fuck with these players' heads. It's not good. It's an awful appointment from a tactical perspective, from a man management perspective, from even Juric perspective for his career. None of this made sense to me. Armand, we're going to stay on you for this one because I'm sure you got to.
The reality is, I want to know his agent. And I want him to become my agency to find me employment, because this guy got sacked by Roma and managed to set up a contract in England, in the Premier League, like the week after. And then he picked the record where never a Premier League team got relegated with 7 games in hands. And he scored a bench job at Atalanta. I don't know, maybe I see the word upside down. It's like the more you fail, the more you can get better. And he was a disaster at Torino. I don't remember him being good anyway. So I really don't understand. And is Atalanta take a step back? Is Atalanta try to, cash in all the investment they done in the last few years and, try to have a couple of seasons of rebuild? Maybe that's the case. So in that case, you only take a coach that you can utilize as a blind point. And because it's weird, they sold their main striker. They have no replacing. They go into the season having Scamacca. Honestly, I don't understand why they haven't sold what's his name, Lookman, because it's an interesting story with Lookman now, because they have this player. I don't know how they're gonna end up, but realistic, it's a really weird story. I don't know. I've been doing my heading around this appointment since the day one.
Don't get me wrong. I think Kristovic is a good player. When I was watching him at Lecce, I thought, okay, this is a good player, and he's found a good league for himself as well. But he's not going to be the savior that the city of Bergamo needs for this season. And like you said, they'll be relying on the very unstable physical Scamacca as well. A lot of their players don't look like they'll be able to cut it this season under Ivan Juric. I, for one, after speaking to Adam about it intensely after he came from Roma to us, I'm more than happy for Zalewski to go to them for 17 million. Had I not known Adam, I probably would be just as enraged as the rest of the Inter fans, but I feel like I had that little bit of extra knowledge. Adam, if you want to chime in here, like you called him shit the whole time he was at Roma. He came to us. We flipped him for 2.5 times. And would you say we got a good deal sending him off for 17.2 mil to Atalanta?
Unbelievable deal. He had one.
Our fans don't think that. We think we gave away a player with amazing attacking flair and ball carrying ability.
Yeah, but the thing is with Zalewski, right? is that he had a really good season with us the first season, the year we won the conference, coming through our youth academy, coming through the Primavera. But I'll ask the question to anyone who thinks that Inter are mad for releasing him. How many times did you witness him do that with continuity? So he came on and scored that goal last season, which was a brilliant goal, right? But was he able to be consistent for you guys every time he stepped onto the field? One, he wasn't probably given that opportunity, but two, if you had given him that opportunity, I could put my house on the fact that your answer would be no, because he was given that opportunity at Roma over 2 or 3 seasons, and he put in one good shift and then go missing for 4, and then come back and play 2 decent games and then go missing for another month. So I guess a coach needs to be able to trust their players, and I just felt that at Roma, with the coaches that he had, they weren't able to trust him in the end to be able to go out there and do a job. So can he be a good player off the bench for Atalanta? Yeah, probably. But I guess he won't be content with that, and knowing that the World Cup's around the corner as well. So, yeah, I think all in all, it was a great piece of business by Inter.
A lot of depth on the side again this season for them. Bellanova, Zappacosta, Kolasinac, despite his age, De Catalare up front as well. They've still got a decent side, but in terms of their expectations regarding the last few seasons, they're going to drop off. It's the end of a cycle. I'm happy to call it right here, right now. We've got 31 people on Inter Worldwide right now, which is awesome for the first episode of this show. So like the video, subscribe if you are new, and make sure you drop a comment as well at the end if you are watching it back or live. Anth, any comments on Atalanta before we move on to the next topic, brother?
No, I agree with all of you. I think that's the end of that cycle. I mean, Juric, you're being kind to him. He's rubbish, in my opinion. If you look at his, I think the only club that he did okay was at Verona once upon a time when he was there. But post that, I think his win rate at most clubs is below like 30%. So I can't see him doing anything this year at all. Be lucky to qualify for Europe, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, wow, big shout, but yeah, definitely not going to be hugging that Champions League spot like they have been in recent years. Let's talk a little bit about Juve, who started their campaign 2-0 win under, I almost forgot his name for a sec, Igor Tudor. Jonathan David, who has always been a bit of a sharp shooter, showing very little emotion, as he does here. Bad market for them. I wish Chicho was here, but he'll be around another episode because I'm sure he'd, agree with us. In terms of last season's market under Giuntoli, which Armando Wuchaku, as we know, best transfer market of all time in the history of all transfer markets. They need to publish it in the New Testament of the Bible. It was that good of a transfer market. Versus this one, extremely underwhelming, notably because they are still footing the bill for a lot of those transfers from the season before. Also a big reason why they needed to sell the likes of Huijsen, Soulé. Did Miretti end up leaving as well, or is he still on their books? Armando, do you know? Does anybody know?
He's still on their books. I don't think he left. Let me double check.
Still on their books.
He was on loan, I think. He came back from Genoa, didn't he?
Yeah, fair enough. I know Napoli were literally just throwing disrespectful shade for no reason. What were you offering? 12.5 million for him? Because they could smell the desperation.
You gotta think about when Napoli talks to a player, he doesn't want that player. He's using that player to close another deal.
Yeah,
we've been on Elman all this time. I think Napoli. That's the tactical that Manna does. Manna start with 6 talks, and then always go for one. It's the way he does. I don't think we were after of Miretti at all.
Yeah. For all the shade that I throw, and I'll continue to throw it all season, I actually think this is the sort of season that they need. Stop thinking that you're bigger than you are for what you are in context at the moment. Humble yourselves and try and establish an identity on the football pitch for 90 minutes within the frames of the football pitch, because the way that they've been trying to operate in the last few seasons has just been a watered down version of the Manchester United model. That's the best way I can describe it. A watered down version of that model, because you can't replicate that model in Italy the same way you can in England. And I just think that they need a season like this to play as many of their squad into form as possible. Stop experimenting with a new lineup every game the way Thiago Motta did last season. And I actually think they'll do all right. I think they'll make top 4. And I think that their fans, who I think now have finally humbled themselves a bit more, should be happy with that. But that's just me coming from a conscious bias perspective from the side of the enemy fence. So from top to bottom now, Ads. Adam, what are you saying? Unmute yourself, brother. Sorry, that's my fault. I told you to mute.
I definitely see them being up there. For me, Inter and Napoli are the favourites for the Scudetto at the moment, in my opinion. I mean, Juve's Juve. They'll always shake it up at some point. So I must say, though, having watched that game, I did find it to be probably the most lackluster in terms of excitement on the weekend. It was just a really stable game, if I could call it that. Maybe because I just no vested interest with either team. I was just merely an observer, a neutral. But I just didn't enjoy it as much as some of the other games that I saw on the weekend. Maybe it's the style. I don't know, but I did give it a look, and I admit I didn't watch all of it. Probably watched about 75% of it, but it wasn't great viewing.
Stylistically, they've if I can give them a little bit of sympathy, and I won't give it much this season, stylistically they've been an absolute shit show for the last few seasons because they've had to flip from Allegri ball to Thiago Motta, he really made a dog's breakfast of it last season, man. I don't think it's entirely his fault. Massive disconnect between board management and coaching, but it was everything that could have possibly gone wrong did go wrong. And in a season where he and Giuntoli were meant to progress the club forward by 50%, I think they put them back by 50%, and they're still going to claw back a little bit more. Anth, what's your thoughts on the overall Juve situation before I move into something I think that they should be thinking more positively about?
I actually don't really know what to expect from this team this year, if that's the honest truth. I'm torn. I find their transfer market similar to ours, a bit confusing. Even look at some of the signings from last year, like Lloyd Kelly, players like this. What are they thinking when they sign players like this? It's a bit like Milan. Conceição, I think he's a good player. I think second year at Juve, he'll do really well again. But I'm torn as to whether they finish top four or they have a bit of a nightmare like Milan last year. I'm not really sure on this team.
Yeah, fair enough. Armand, your overall thoughts on Juve coming off, a very bad season and coming into the season not looking that much better on paper?
To be honest, I didn't understand the signing of David when they got a very good striker in the house. But I think we're gonna talk about that next. And everybody throw rubbish at Vlahovic, but I think Vlahovic even last year ended up scoring 14 goals in Serie A. And if you look at the Serie A later last year, you had only one player that went over the 20 goals, which was Baccalà from Atalanta. Everybody else scored between 16 and 12 goals. So Vlahovic had a very decent season. And I hope they're selling him because it could be they keep playing this year, the surprise key player. Overall, it doesn't scare me at all. They got a formation where like with the at the back they got Brema, which is okay, and then they got Gatti, Kalulu, Kelly, Cambiasso. In the middle they got Locatelli and Thuram. It's an okay team. It doesn't really concern me. And they play against a Parma that lost all their key players. So it's not exciting me at all. But I'm surprised that everybody talking bad about Vlahovic. It's I like him.
Yeah, well, we're gonna move on to that now. So I'll stay on with you, Armando, and then we'll go to the other boys as well. For all the shit he cops, he still scores the goals. Whether he's bad mouthing them and comes on as a substitute, he still scores the goals. You got to remember, this is Dusan Vlahovic we're talking about. We were talking about this guy when we started the roundtable 3 years ago. He did what he did at Fiorentina for a reason. He did what he did at the start of his Juve career for a reason. He's just an egotistical prick, and when he decides to turn it off, he will turn it off, like any egocentric human being will do in their line of work. If you can ignite him in some way, shape, or form, he just might deliver you a product in a unique way that nobody else can. But we're not really talking about the Juventus that we all know, are we? From board, from management, from ownership.
Exactly. So
good luck convincing this group of players, like the other group of players with your current ownership, that this is the badge that you should be fighting tooth and nail for. Vlahovic thinks he's above the club.
Anthony, but not only that, he played in the worst Juventus of the last 15 years. He joined the club when the club was already they picking down. And to be honest, we spoke about it. I was more happy if Napoli was going to go for Vlahovic than from Ocean. Holland, whatever is the way you say his name. But for money reason, Juventus can't give him a loan, need to sell him, and Napoli doesn't want to buy now. He wants to get a player on loan. And plus, apparently, does not fit Conte style. That's what people have been saying. But I will take him. I think he's still one of the best Serie A striker after probably Lautaro and after Lukaku. I'll probably put him as a third or fourth, top striker. So I think Juventus is going to find out that even this year he's going to be the one. I think, you know why he copied a lot? Because it's easy to blame a player from the fan base. The club made it look like it was always his fault. It was like almost like a deflection towards him than anything else. It was the easy guy to blame. The easy guy to blame. But Juventus has been angry. He's been playing this stupid football. You can't striker for that.
Yeah. Look, I get what you're saying. It's easy to blame the bad guy, right? Because I'm just going to say it. Nobody blames Locatelli, who's not a bad player. But if you think that this player is the right player to start in the midfield for Juventus, I got to say, I'm happy every time I see him start the season for Juve because they bought him for 45 million in the Euros. He's never been worth $1 more than 20 million euros. He's a very bang average midfielder, man. So
listen, I'm gonna give you the formation. Okay, Di Gregorio. It's a step back what I had before. Even Perin was better than Di Gregorio. Then at the back, the defender they got Bremer, Gatti, Kalulu, Kelly, Cambiasso, and on the bench they got Pinzolo and Rugani. Come on. Chiellini, you know what I mean?
All good. Sorry, I think Arman's connection is just like slightly delayed, but that's all good. We can still hear him perfectly. Anth, I was going to say, besides Napoli, you're the other squad in for him every single day. Would you take him? I mean, you'd take him over Nkuku, right? Which is the last name I saw this morning.
100%. I'll take him over that bloke from Sporting. What's his name? Harder. I'll take him over Nkunku. Nkunku scored 3 goals last year at Chelsea, and he's coming off a serious injury as well. So I don't know. It's a gamble. I remember this bloke when he was at Fiorentina smashing goals in. Right, he's proven in Serie A. The only thing I can't remember, maybe you boys can tell me, is his relationship with Allegri. Was it decent at Juve or was it strained? Now, obviously, Allegri's pushing for him, is what I'm reading in the news. So he obviously wants him. But did he perform well under Allegri? I can't remember.
I think
he's still banging in goals. He's still scoring under Allegri.
Yeah, because he had a much better time under Allegri than he had under Thiago Motta, obviously.
Yeah. So, no, if you ask me, I think we can go for a proven striker who's done it in Serie A for Fiorentina, and he's done okay. He scored a nice goal on the weekend. And I think the way he scored that goal, I was watching the way he attacked the ball, it looked like a player that wanted to prove something. So, for me, if we land Vlahovic, this might be, against some of the Milan fans, what they think. But I think he'd be a good signing for us up front.
It's the thing is, if it's Napoli or Milan, you can't lose because he is a player that wants to prove himself. And if you're on the receiving end of this transfer, he'll prove himself for you. The only thing he doesn't want to prove himself for is the colors up on the screen right there. Ads, any comment overall about Juve, Vlahovic before we move on?
Yeah, look, I'd kill for a 9 like Vlahovic. I think any team would in terms of his caliber, right? It just then depends whether he's a good culture fit for wherever he goes. And whether he's actually able to fall into line like the coach expects of all their players. So going back to your first point, Anth, he's egotistical. He thinks he's above Juve at the moment. He needs to get out of there. Where he goes, I don't know, but Milan obviously be a good fit considering they need someone of his caliber. I'd love him at Roma in place of, I know we've got Ferguson now, but in place of Dobbik. But, it's not likely to happen, obviously, but yeah, it'd be an interesting next 3 days to see what happens with him.
Definitely. Igor Tudor, dead man walking or not? Let's keep it very, very short because I'm conscious of time. We're doing very.
I think so.
Well for time. You reckon where would you ballpark it? You think they stick with him, or you think that they'd sack him if the going gets tough?
No, I think anywhere between rounds 2 and 10 now. If the results don't go their way, I think we'll see him gone. I know that they've notched up that first win, but when the test comes and they start playing teams in the top half, and it's not working, I think Juve will do what Juve do, and the fans will will voice their displeasure, and he'll be gone. But did anybody else not think that he was a dead man walking when they first signed him anyway?
I think that he and Christian Kivu are passion merchants, and they're a very easy dismissal when the going gets tough eventually this season for both clubs. That's what I thought when they were both. I agree. They're both on low salaries. They both know that this is the dream job that they always wanted. They'll take the job no matter what. If the team is first, second, or last in Serie B, they'll take the job no matter what. So it was a perfect signing from board's perspective for both clubs. And that's what I think.
I guess it all depends on what's out there at the time of if that time comes and they do release him. It's just a matter then of who's available. So that will be considered as well, obviously.
Yeah, fair enough. Armando, any quick thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think it will be a chase between Milan, Juve, and maybe Inter, who's going to sign up Spalletti.
Interesting. Anth, anything to add to Igor Tudor?
Same. I think a few bad results and he's on the chopping block.
Yeah, fair enough.
Short and sweet.
Unfortunate. No, that's good. We've got to keep it like that at some point, or we'll never finish this. Armando, you come in as champions. You sign Kevin De Bruyne because it's a very attractive city for his wife. Don't fucking bullshit me. This all started because you went to Dries Mertens' wedding and his wife was like, babe, this is a nice city. We should retire here. He's like, yeah, no worries. I'm pretty tired anyway. I like to eat. He was already fat when he was at Man City. Watch this guy halfway through the season, bro. Watch him put it all away. But grace, bro. Elegance. You can't. There are some things money can't buy. And for everything else, there's players like Kevin De Bruyne. So, congratulations. He's good.
Man, I'm still
that picture, sorry, before you say it, that picture of McTominay leaning on his elbows. Did you see it? Watching the game from the sideline after he got subbed off. Fucking frame it and hang it in every single Napoli fan's house because this guy was treated like shit at Manchester United. You all know I watch Manchester United, take a massive interest in them. He was scapegoated for so many games because he didn't have technical quality, baller ability. The amount of money I made betting on Scott McTominay to score a goal and he would come through late was unbelievable. And here he is in one of the most beautiful cities on planet Earth, leaning on his elbows, watching his team win as a champion of Italy. It's poetic.
He's been He's been probably I'm delayed, so he's become very Napoletano. He's joined the city in the best way. Very funny that when last year we had Brescianini do the medical, and then he went to Atalanta. Conte said, no, we can get McTominay. A lot of people said, Atalanta spoke Brescianini from Napoli. Napoli had to go for Plan B for McTominay. Man, if all the Plan B turned out to be like McTominay, I take Plan B anytime. What a gun. And to be honest, I'm midfielder right now. You got McTominay, you got De Bruyne, you got Lobotka, you got Anguissa. Find me a team that's got a better midfielder right now.
I actually think you've got the best midfield in Europe. That's what I was going to say today. I think you've got the most balanced midfield in Europe. I'll come back to you, Armando, because there's still more to talk about in Napoli, but I want to break that down a little bit more. Adam, we'll go to you next. Initial thoughts about Napoli champions coming into this season. Do you think they can back it up here? And I'll trail that question with, how do you expect them to perform in Europe? Because that'll be the second-hand question to this here. So Napoli coming into this season, do you think Conte can balance his domestic fixture with this squad that he's got? Do you expect them to at least make a little bit of a punch for Europe to appease the fans? Overall thoughts on Napoli, man?
Yeah, look, for me, they're the favourite, obviously, coming off the back of the Scudetto last season. Can they balance? Yeah, I think that they probably can. They bolstered their squad. McTominay, just back on him, I think it's a classic case of how many times have you this examples every season of players moving and then flourishing under new coaches and new environment. I think he's probably the most obvious one over the last 12 months. But yeah, like they're in Sweet Symphony, mate. I watched the game against the Swallows, just everything was they just look like a well-rounded, perfect team already. Their runs, their movement off the ball, their patterns. It's just like, it's great to watch. I can't, if they don't win the Scudetto, they're going to be up there for the majority of the season, fighting for it at the very least. back to your point about Europe, and that's the reason why, is because they've got Europe this season, and they might not have it. They didn't have it easy last season, but they were up there for most of it. So and only had to concentrate on that game once a week. So squad has got bigger, a lot of depth, and yeah, I see them being that force again. How far they go in Europe is going to be the interesting question, and interesting for us to view. So. Yeah, it's a great time to be a Napoli fan, Armando. Congratulations again on the Scudetto.
Anth, over to you. Before I've got a couple of other questions for Armando as well before we close out Napoli. Your initial thoughts on them going into this season? They look pretty good.
Yeah, I love watching them. I think they're definitely the favourites for me, the way they play. I'm really enjoying this squad. I'll put my hand up when McTominay went to Napoli. I didn't understand it. I didn't see the value in him. But watching him last year, he's quality midfielder. He's got everything you look for in a midfield, and he scores goals as well. So he's brilliant, right? But there's just off topic, there's a Scottish revolution going on in Serie A at the moment. You've got McTominay, Gilmore, Ferguson, and there's a couple others.
Ferguson's not Scottish, mate.
Lewis Ferguson.
He's not Scottish? Is Lloyd Kelly Scottish?
There's only one Ferguson in Serie A, mate. It's Evan Ferguson.
He's proven nothing. But yeah, no, I love. You know, I want to see Napoli go far in Europe. It'll be the best thing if they can go deep and really challenge for the UCL. How good would that be? But I think for me, the best team in Italy.
Absolutely. Just comments on that. Like, one game a week is a luxury, but it depends on what you do with that luxury. And if you come away with the gold, simple as that. And they were there all of last season, and I think that they'll be there all the way till the end this season. And in Europe, good chance for Conte to try out this disgusting format. I mean, Conte never liked Europe to begin with, so he's really going to hate the guts out of this format now, but it's also going to establish a new floor. Sorry, once you reach a new ceiling, it becomes a floor of tactical discipline and endurance in this side as well. So it'll be very interesting to see how this Napoli team adapts physically to the multiple games per week, because I think they are very well built for it. Armand, specifically for you, jubilation, joy, you've got 2 Scudetti in the last 3 years. The fans, I want to know more about the fans. How are they going into this season? Is it just going to be a party all season no matter what? Because let's face it, you are a fan base that cherishes what you do win and what you do have. Are you guys very much starting to get a little bit more aggressive, ambitious? Are you noticing certain trends in certain fans as well? These are more personal questions that only I'm interested in. So for me, selfish, talk to me.
Listen, to be honest, let me take a step back. Everybody makes this mistake. They talk about Napoli should win the Champions League, should go for the Champions League. If you know Conte, if everybody knows Conte, they know that Conte is the guy that wants to do things that never been done before. Remember, he jeopardized the Champions League. He jeopardized the final Coppa Italia final against Napoli to get the record point with Juventus. He will try to do anything to do something that never happened in Napoli, the back-to-back title.
Every competition but Serie A. Every competition, he just hates it.
He will play me in Champions League. If he smell, they might lose a point in Serie A. And that's why I like him. He goes, he smell, he focus in his pride, and he will go. I think with the new formation, Champions League also, he doesn't need to worry about the pressure of the club who wants him to go forward to make more game, more money. He's got 8 game guaranteed. And honestly, with that game guaranteed, you got a big chance to go to the playoff anyway. So I think this format should count more instead of the knockout, because he doesn't need to worry about play the best formation. I think Conte will focus on the Campionato again. Fan base, man, we won 2 Scudetto in 3 years. We won nothing in 25, in 29. So we're pretty sure we're going to be happy as long as we are there fighting until the end. Inter, best teams on paper, but I 2 things Inter have a question mark for me. The age of the defender and the coach. If the coach turned out to be a good coach and the players managing to survive the whole season, which I doubt for the age, then Inter's still the best team on paper.
Thank you. Well said. Well said. We've got a lot of issues and we'll get to us eventually. But last question for you, Armando. As you personally, what do you expect this season? What trophies? You expect a major trophy?
Look, I won't mind finally to concentrate again for Coppa Italia again, because, it's always a good number. And it's always, but I think Napoli will definitely go for the title. I think it would be a nice run, and I'm expecting us to be fighting until the end. Then we win, we lose. Football is full of unexpected scenario, injury, other superstar coming out of nowhere. You cannot predict, you cannot plan success. You can work on your performance, but the outcome, the result, it's open to many factors.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm also a big undercover fan of the Coppa Italia. It cops a lot of shit, but I don't care. Inter's won 9. I was really pissed off when they couldn't win their 10th last year, and any trophy is a good trophy. So any Italian football fans who talk down on the Coppa Italia, I can't resonate with that. Sorry. Sorry, Anth, over to you, mate. But Jesus Christ, that was comical as hell. Like I've said every time I've talked about it, this is a player who couldn't get past a 68 rating on FIFA 2008 on PlayStation 3 when I was homesick at school, trying to build him up just to sell him for anything over the 900,000 euros. And I didn't even know he was playing. I didn't even know he was actually in that team before the game as well. But more importantly, before we actually move on to the bigger picture, Anth, because prior to this fixture, and we shouldn't just talk about one fixture, I did think that you guys were sort of a dark horse this season. Like something weird was happening, because you know what convinced me? It's the bloody Napoli 1 game a week last season. That's what it was. It was the juju of them keeping up with Inter. And I looked at Allegri coming into you guys and Ricci and Modric and the 1 game a week. And I thought to myself, Allegri, that son of a bitch, he's got something cooking. It's only been 1 game. Armando, how did Napoli go in the first game last season when you won the Scudetto?
Hold on. We lost 3-0, but the day after we had Buongiorno, we had McTominay, and we had Lukaku. You know what I mean?
You did something about it.
It's a completely different formation.
Bro. You're a great Milan fan. Do what you need to do. Tell the people, get it off your chest.
I'm a depressed Milan fan at the moment. Maybe a great one, but also depressed. Look, good on Cremonese. You know, this prick here scores his best goal against Milan as an ex-Inter player. It was destined. But yeah, you were pretty bullish about us, Anth, in our chat, and I mentioned I don't get the excitement around Milan, and I said it in our chat because yeah, we've signed Jashari. That Jashari is a good midfielder. Ricci is a good midfielder, although he didn't get 1 minute on the weekend. He didn't play at all. And the rest there that we've signed, the defense is weak. Pavlovic, Gabbia, and Estupinan, who's not proven, right? That was our defense. Then you add the Winter, for me, average, and this Atakame guy. I'm not sure why we've gone for a Swiss player from Young Boys who's might prove me wrong, but I can't see it in us. So defensively, we haven't strengthened, if you look at it, in my view at all. And last season, we leaked goals all year. So maybe the midfield's a bit stronger, but when you've got a 39-year-old midfielder who's your best player, it's a bit concerning too, yeah? He's quality. He can read the game. He can play, but we need something around him. He's 39, man.
He's 39, bro. I don't care what anybody says, man. I'm in exercise science. He's 39.
Correct. And that's my concern. And he was our best player, and that's not good. So the worst possible start. Then we've got the issues with the supporters. It just feels like it's an absolute mess. We have to bounce back this week. There's no option. I think our first 5 games are winnable. We've already lost 1. So, hopefully we bring in another striker because Jimenez doesn't do it for me. I think
really Jimenez doesn't do it for you.
Nah, I just don't see him being a lethal striker who's going to bang in goals all year. I think we need to replace there. I think we need to bring Jashari and Ricci in the midfield and really get some youth in there around Modric, and see how we go. But I'm not expecting good things. If we're around the top 4 and challenging, I'll be surprised.
Fair enough, man. Thanks for the honesty. I'll go over to the other 2 boys quickly about Milan before we move into Roma, because I'm conscious of time as well. For me personally, it was all about the games. It was all about Allegri just doing his thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm actually giving him a little bit too much respect, because in terms of the managers that we've got in Serie A, he and Conte are the most seasoned veterans, right? I'm pretty sure they're the 2 besides maybe Gus Sperini. But in terms of top level, well-known managers, it's always going to be the Allegri and Conte league for as long as they're actually coaching in the league, just based on pure stature. Armando, over to you next. Do you think this guy's got an ace up his sleeve, or do you think that he's clueless, just in a job because it needs to be a job? Do you see anything for Milan this season? Keep in mind, Armando, they've only got 37 important games left to play over the next 9 months.
Listen, 2 things. Go yourself a favor after the show. open up any formation from AC Milan from last year and confront it with this year. They have now third or fourth option playing starting. They lost key player, they not replaced it. They struggled. I agree with Anthony. It was like fourth option last year, and now it's the first option. Allegri is a very good coach when he's got the players because he does have a football style. His football style is give the play to the ball to the best player and go for it. We saw that at AC Milan when he had Ibrahimovic. We saw that at Juventus. He had the best formation. He had the best player, the best defender, the best goalkeeper, the best midfielder, the best striker. But it's not somebody that can get, let's say, water out of the coconuts. I don't think he will do anything good with AC Milan. The AC Milan right now, I agree with that. Look, I follow a lot of AC Milan journalists and podcasts because I got friends in the club, and they desperate, man. They in a mess. They think there's chaos, total chaos. One day the club's trying to buy a player, and then somebody moves to another player, completely different position, completely different scenario. Even the midfielder that we're phrasing, Richie and the other kid, they're exactly the same midfielder style of play. They don't have any box-to-box midfielder. Who's going to run? Who's going to win the ball, you know? So I think they're in for a big mess. And until the Americans are in charge, I don't think anything. Listen, what they're doing really good is they buy players for 20 million. They play those players for a couple of years. They sell them again for 30.
Yeah.
They make a big profit. As a profit club this year, you know how much money they made this year from Mercato? $230, $240 million. Check how much they invested. They invested probably 60 or 70.
Yeah. They've invested a bit. Ads, I'm going to move on to you because we are actually at the Roma section as well. Did you want to add anything to Milan while you move on to your boys as well, who got a very nice 1-0 opening day win over Bologna? Not an easy team to beat, albeit I do think Bologna's in for a slightly rougher season than usual, but 3 points for you guys is 3 points for you guys.
Yeah, just to finish on Milan, I think we'll probably judge them once they're at full strength. I know Ricci and Musa were both on the bench on the weekend. I'm assuming they were on the bench because they're a little bit underdone going into the new season. Don't know if they had any injuries.
We're selling Musa. We're selling Musa.
All right. Well, Ricci has to come in, obviously.
Yeah.
Ricci's the blue ribbon signing for Milan in the Mercato. So I'm looking forward to seeing him run around. But yeah, it's not looking great. And, whether they're going to invest in the last couple of days, I don't know. But, this should have been done well before us speaking today. Iglitare was an interesting appointment for Milan, coming from Lazio. As much as I don't like to praise Lazio, he did some good things there during his time. But you've got Ibra and Tare there now that, and as Armando said, plenty coming in and not much going out. So, I think it's going to be a tough season. But moving along to some more joyous news. First outing at the Olimpico, another back to the pre-Mourinho, the Mourinho's first season of record abbonati and sellout matches. This one was a sellout, and you would assume that most home games will be a sellout this season. Played really well. I was skeptical because I watched our last pre-season game, which was played at Frosinone Stadium against some Saudi team a week ago, or a week and a half ago now, and we were very average. So, but bright lights and Matchday won, and boys turned it on. So it was really good to watch. This image, Anth, is from last season, by the way.
Is it? I thought so, man, because I was looking at it and I thought to myself, why are they showing an image of Bologna?
Actually, it's from 2 seasons ago. That's
right, man. I was looking at it and I'm like, you know what? I said it had to be good. I'm like, oh, it's Angelino. It has to be right.
And Paredes was in there. So looking at our acquisitions, the boy that scored the goal, Wesley, right back from Flamengo, looks sharp, and I think he's really good. What's the most pleasing thing for me as a Roma fan is we finally got two solid fullbacks, and we haven't had two solid fullbacks for a long time in Wesley and Angelino. So Evan Ferguson, interesting acquisition. When the announcement came through, I'm like, oh, what? Isn't he injury prone? I actually didn't realise that he's only 21 years old. I remember him banging some goals in for Brighton, but then sent out on loan and didn't do much last season in the Prem. Looks really good, man. Like, strong, young, spirited. I think he'll be good for us this season. But I hope I don't have to eat my words. But from early signs, I know he didn't score on the weekend, but it's just the way he moves and his ability to hold the ball up. Is a lot different to what I've experienced watching Dogbik over the last 12 months. This boy on the right, Manu Kone, I can't speak highly enough of him. Just bosses the midfield. He's complements Brian Cristante really well. So that they both had really decent games. For me, I've spoken about this on our chat, but Brian Cristante for me is probably one of the most underrated midfielders in the league. Definitely the most underrated midfielder in the league. Probably the most underrated Serie A midfielder in the last 10 years, I'd say. Does all the dirty work that goes unseen. But unless you know the game deeply from a tactical perspective, his work goes unnoticed, and that's why he cops a lot of criticism. So, but yeah, early signs are good. I mean, it's only the first game, but if the players stay fit and healthy, I'm not saying we're going to win the Scudetto by any means, but I'm hoping that we can, make a play for top four.
Did you see the Gasperini style already? I'm intrigued by Roma this year. I want to see how they go.
I think they're the most interesting of the top teams. I'm just so curious of what the hell I'm going to see.
It's a standard Gasperini high press, man marking without the ball. So the question is, how long can you play at that frantic pace for?
Yeah.
Over a season when you've got Europa League and Coppa Italia as well. So the squad's bigger, and I think we'll probably end up signing another one before the window closes. It won't be Sancho, thank God. I think he's going to retire and follow his missus to the States or something, I read today, but it might be some kid from Chelsea. And I think we're going to sign Tsimikas, the fullback from Liverpool, the Greek guy. All the Leon Bailey's another one that's come in, who I'm excited about, but got injured during the first training session, so he's out for a month.
Spewing.
Ella Nuri from Lons looks good. But really excited by Wesley, man. Wesley and Ferguson.
Wesley is an awesome player, man. I remember watching him 2 years ago, and he's played. I did some research on him a couple of days ago. He played almost 100 games for Flamengo in 3 seasons. He was very much ready at the age of 21. Very, very good player. I've got 2 questions for you because I know you're conscious of time. Do you expect Roma to have a sort of season where you start to turn over the squad very, very quickly in order to generate you guys as an Atalanta 2.0 model? And I don't mean that in a disrespectful point of view in terms of stature of your club and whatnot, just in terms of getting a financial wheel turning, because Gasperini, his greatest gift has been his tactical ability to turn players systematically into versions of themselves where their market value reflects the ultimate maximum versions of yourselves. You guys are going through some financial difficulty, as we all are in this country, bar Armando, basically. But basically, do you expect that to be a part of Roma's personality going forward? And secondly, was there anything to the Manu Kone thing to Inter?
I don't think there was. I think it was just paper talk. And as we know with the Italian media, it doesn't take much for them to jump on something and run with it. So I'm not sure that there was any truth in that. I guess we might find out that one day. But back to your question, Anth. It's the reason why I fear, right, for guys like Dybala. Like, I obviously love Dybala and what he's brought to the club. But I think it'll probably be, if Gasperini remains, and obviously I believe he's on a 3-year contract, I think it might be Dybala's last season. I think he'll start looking for different players with different characteristics to what Dybala has. And I can already see that happening with the acquisitions, like the nimble, fit, young, like the average age I think has dropped significantly since the preseason. Interestingly, it's January will be our last Mercato under financial fair play. So as of the summer Mercato next season, we're free of that. So I think the squad's competitive as it is. With a free Mercato next summer, I think obviously we'll bring in a different caliber and we'll be able to spend a little bit more than we have, because it's not about us not having the money, it's about us being restricted because of the FFP. So yeah.
Anth, you better rename this the Roma Worldwide. He's taken over on Roma.
I knew as soon as I threw the mic to him, because I knew as soon as I threw the mic to him, he wouldn't shut up for a good 5 minutes, and I needed a break, to be honest, bro. That's why I got up twice.
One thing I'm happy about is that we got Salamakers back from these guys. He's the most underrated player. I don't know why he gets so much grief. I'm glad Milan got him back.
Was there ever a conversation between your two clubs where you looked at establishing a fee, or was it just like we're nowhere near a deal here?
We wanted to, but Allegri wanted him back.
Yeah, and if we trade him for Vlahovic, I'll be filthy. I think we need to keep him. He's so versatile.
He's more versatile. I was about to say offers something different.
Yep.
Yeah, fair enough. Ads, is that all the time you're going to bless us with today? Because to be honest, it was awesome.
Yeah, sorry guys, I need to run, but look, it's great to be back. Great to be talking Serie A again, and let's keep it going.
Absolutely, bro. It was good to see you again. I'll see you next time. You can see yourself
Thanks,
out.
guys.
Just remove yourself when you want. Ciao.
Ciao.
Moving on to us, we did a good thing. I told my friend before the game, before I went to bed, you know what would be funny, cuz? If we win 5-0, and then I put my phone down and I wake up and I'm like, fucking hell, bro, I hate football so much. Inter beats Torino 5-0 in the opening day to at least show the fans that there is something about this season and something about this club going forward after ways that you can only end the season in the worst possible ways. I do nothing but bang on about this club on this channel 24/7. So this is my favorite part of this show every week, where I just throw the microphone to my brethren's on the side. There's 47 people here. We're almost at 50 for the first episode of this here. So like the video, subscribe if you're new. I look forward to all your comments after on. Thank you very much. 48 people live on Inter Worldwide. I'll start with you, Anth. Obviously, you would have enjoyed the way we ended last season. But more importantly, do you honestly see Inter being able to mentally recover and establishing some sort of significance event? Again, I've studied psychology and sport for a long time, and let's just say I'm very pessimistic. I know what the physical attributes of this team can do. I still know on paper, like Armando said, it looks like the best team on paper, name for name. But football isn't played on paper, my friend, and it's a little bit more complicated than that. Anth, what are your thoughts?
If I'm honest, then your subscribers won't like this. I probably didn't show you guys any respect at all at the start of the year. I thought you guys would struggle with a new coach coming in. I thought the end of last year, how you finished last year was, psychologically, I thought it would have an impact on your squad. So I haven't really paid a lot of attention to what you've done in the market. And when I looked at you guys on the weekend, I thought, okay, they're still around. They're still strong. They're going to be up there with Napoli. And they've still got that basis of quality. Now, you'll tell me what they've added to the squad, whether they can cope. Because, last year I know it was a struggle towards the end of the year, and it culminated in winning no silverware from being in a really strong position in Serie A and UCL. So my initial thoughts at the start of the year were I can't see Inter challenging, but I've changed that view after round one. You look really, really strong. And Thuram, what a striker. I remember when Milan were looking at Thuram, and I said to you, who is this guy? Who cares? He didn't want to come to Milan. I don't care. He's a nothing. Again, I've got to eat my words. It's like McTominay. His quality. He's the sort of striker you need that can bang in goals. And with him on song, I think he'll challenge Napoli. He'll be the biggest challenger this year.
The thing about Inter is that last season, I really hated this. And I became a little bit unpopular on this platform because while everybody was gun-ho for the Champions League, the most important thing to me was to wrap up the 21st league title. Yep. We disrespected it and we threw it in the ground. And I'm not saying this to be disrespectful to Armando because Napoli deserve to be champions. Antonio Conte, for me, is the best Serie A manager I've ever seen in my life. I'm only 33 years old. He's the best at what he did, and he knew right up until the last second what it took to win that tournament. And he's coached Inter before. He knew exactly what our club was doing. He knew what Beppe Marotta was doing, and we had tunnel vision, and that tunnel vision was sacrificed. And that's why I've said on my channel, if this team can pay half as much attention to the Scudetto this season as it did to the Champions League last season, we will at least challenge Napoli 90% of the way. We've got the players to do it. Whether or not they've got the mentality to focus in on Serie A is different, because athletes are arrogant people. A lot of these athletes have won 2 Scudetti, one under Conte, one under Inzaghi, sniffed out 2 Champions League finals. You know what happens to a person's mentality when they fall short from a certain expectation, but then are expected to perform above a different expectation that they've already accomplished? It doesn't actually work out. The psychological frame is very bad. However, personnel-wise, let me give us our flowers. You fuck off Correa and Arnautovic for Pio Esposito and Boni. You're already smiling and leaning back in your seat just a little bit more, because that's just a model of football that needs to die in the ass. And I'm happy that it did with our club. The one advantage that Inter will have against Juventus is that when Beppe Marotta eventually leaves Inter, he won't leave us in the financial mess that he left Juventus contract-wise, because he legitimately won't get a chance to leave us in that mess. All these big old contracts need to go, and they are going, which is good. Boni is good off the bench. Very similar replacement for Thuram to ease his minutes. This Sucic character is expected to do very well. An engine in midfield replicates Marcelo Brozovic very well. And I'm very critical on Lautaro Martinez, but if he can have a slightly better season than he did last season, I think that we will be in with a chance to challenge Napoli. I just want to come away with a piece of silverware. Yeah.
What have you done in defense? Have you strengthened your defense?
No, this is the big problem, and I was about to get to that. We have a very, very aging defense. We're relying on Acerbi at centre-back. Look, for his age, a fantastic centre-back, but never expect someone to play half as many games in a domestic season at that age at centre-back. This is, he'll never be as good as Chiellini, but Acerbi's season this season reminds me of Chiellini's last season at Juve, where he will be sporadically played into games every 3 to 4 weeks, and we won't actually have a defensive central identity until everybody realizes late in the season that he is finished. As much as I wanted to get Leone, he was not the answer for Inter, because we know how Italian football works, boys. Do you really think a Serie A team is replacing a 37-year-old who played in the Champions League final with an 18-year-old straight away? I don't care how good that 18-year-old is. It's not going to happen. So I would have liked to get De Vinter that you guys got, to be honest. Whether he's overrated or not, we'll see. I do think there's actually quite a small pool of world-class centre-backs available at the moment. I don't know what you boys think, but I think that that's a position that's actually starving for world-class quality in terms of availability, rather than more attacking, wide, flary players. But yeah, I would agree. That's where our shortcomings are going to come this season, and we are one centre-back injury away from having a real problem. Benji Pavard on his day is great. I've actually thought his time at Inter has been a bit underwhelming. I would like for Jan Bisek to be played more into minutes and form. Our defense is a big concern, but thanks for asking. Armando, your thoughts on us? You beat us to the title last season. Do you think we'll be your closest challenge? Be honest.
So, first of all, let's start with your last thing, defense. Man, Inter had first tried to buy Beckham, deal with him for 6 months, and then end up in Juventus. Last year, you guys could have taken Buongiorno. You've done the same thing. They end up at Napoli. This year, you could have gone for one of the 2 centre-backs from Bologna, but still decide not to go. Because one of the centre-backs from Bologna actually got a clausel of 25 or 30 million, so you could have even taken him without signing him up. That's going to be your big question mark. Talking about last year, I think what Inter failed at, it's not that much that they give it the Scudetto away, but they failed when Napoli dropped it, because Napoli up to the 5, 6 games towards the end were cruising, and then we start being hit with injuries. Buongiorno, Lobotka, Neres. That's where we almost bottled it, and Inter did not take the chance because they were too worrying about the Champions League. So I agree with you. Inter did not took the chance when Napoli bottled it, and that's probably going to be a bigger regret for you guys. Because we bottled it. We sucked it up. We had players playing that couldn't even run. And you could tell.
I know what you mean. I'm just going to interrupt you. It was 2 big games. The Parma one, where we're winning 2-0, and they come back 2-2. And then the Roma game as well, where we lose 1-0. And then the Lazio 2-2. These are the 3 big ones. The 3 chances we had to pip you, and we screwed them all up.
And Conte doesn't do 1, 2, 3, but that's it. He's not gonna fail a back to back. This year, I agree with you. Look, I watch your short and your channel all the time, so I don't want to repeat what I said before. So your coaching, your defense is my question mark. But also, I don't know if you also. I want to add that third things that gonna worry you. You haven't done a preseason. You went to play the stupid Club World Cup.
Yeah. Believe it or not, that's still the longest break this team has had in a long time, Mitsika.
Exactly. So is he gonna become danger? I think, especially with the aging defender that you got, he might end up buying in the long run. So that's my hope anyway, because on paper, squad to squad, you're still the stronger one. But you got all this question mark that if you guys can overcome this question mark, you should be up there with us head to head.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. We're not going to focus too much on Inter because I do it all the time here. We've been going for over an hour and I just had a really good time. For all the people that commented, thank you. We had a high of 48 people. There's still 44 of you here right now. I'm going to keep trying to put one of these out every single week. Whether or not any of the gentlemen can join me is up for conversation. Everybody's very much busy. But I really appreciate Adam, Anth, and Armando for clearly making an effort to get here tonight and being here again. We've all wanted to do this. I wouldn't have done this and brought these busy gentlemen in if there wasn't an invested interest in it, because it just feels great. So thank you very much, boys, for joining me. Thank you, Anth. It was great to catch up again, man. And I look forward to seeing you whenever you're available next.
Thanks, Anth. It's good to be back and discuss what we love, which is Serie A. So how good is it to have the game back and we can have the banter on our chat and in here. But good to see you, boys.
Absolutely. And Armando, now a veteran of the channel, it's so good to see you again. I look forward to linking up with you a lot more this season.
I'm glad to be back. It's great. I want to say thanks to all the boys that are watching. I've been reading the chat, one of the most active. Let me do one shout. Let's shout out to Ian Kerr, who's been commenting back to back. And also there was a nice comment at the start regarding us wearing the hat and the only guy with bald not wearing the hat. I think it was Potato something. Christian Potato. So shout out to Christian as well. Guys, I would love to see more diversified fans following this channel, because I know it's called In the Worldwide, but Anthony's been giving space to a lot of other clubs. So if you are a supporter of Napoli, Milan, Inter, Juventus, Roma, whatever, just subscribe and leave a comment, share, let this family grow, because we do for fun. But Anthony puts a lot of effort in, so he deserves a bit of growth as well.
Thank you, Bello. Thank you, Ed, to everybody that commented. I'll be back very soon, probably tomorrow, with some more Inter-based content. So, ciao ragazzi. We'll see you next time.